We're going to start bringing baby home. The first thing on here, see how you click to the next one, is your car seat. Obviously y'all know a lot about car seats. You've already had classes and heard about it. But the car seat is actually one of the most, one, you have to have one to bring the baby home, but very instrumental on when you're picking one out. A lot of the stores will actually let you go and put a baby doll in them so you can see how to strap them. They also have certified safety consultants that will give classes and show you how to properly install it. And we're going to check on possibly doing that here. But a properly installed car seat is rear reversing, it's facing the rear, and that is almost until the child's 2 years old, depending on how long their long legs and how long they can comfortably sit. But it's the safest place and position for a baby is in the back seat, rear facing, and actually it's in the middle of the back seat, which makes it a little bit more difficult because of reaching over and trying to get the baby in there. So most people have them either behind the driver or behind the passenger, but center back seat is the safest. And then also, you notice even on this picture, they've got the head roll. That's good obviously for newborns because they can't keep their head up and things like that, and that's usually generally until about 4 months old. Also though, even for toddlers and stuff, get those round the neck travel kind of pillows for babies, because often they fall asleep obviously in their car seat, and you'll see little babies with their heads all the way over and you're like, oh, how did they not get a crick in the neck? They don't get cricks like we do, but they do get sore necks and stuff, so if you just put that even around a toddler. But car seat, I know she brought one here. Like I said, this is good for an infant, for a newborn. But like I said, rear facing, especially as y'all start picking out strollers and things like that, because it makes a difference on if they just set in there. I think the way Milan's did, it just went in there. If they come with a base where you need to keep that in your car. If you have multiple people driving the baby, they're going to have multiple base stations. So really pick out your car seat and think about it before you all jump into that. The next thing is newborn sleeping. They sleep about 16 to 18 hours a day. They have I've talked about this a lot, about tracking your baby's sleeping and all of their habits. This is a great area right here for the Huckleberry app. We've talked about it before. It's an app that you keep on your phone. You enter the amount when the baby goes to sleep and when they wake up. This isn't only for your knowledge and for you to have, but also when you go to the doctor, if there's something wrong, they ask how their baby's sleeping, you have the whole thing tracked out. So number 2 is really important, is to track the baby's sleeping patterns, obviously, and answer any questions from your doctor. Be careful not to fall asleep next to your baby when holding them in a chair or laying down. Obvious reasons, you can fall asleep and release the baby. Even just sleeping on the couch where they're cuddled up real close to you is not a good idea. You can roll over on the baby. Also, your body heat generates the baby. The baby can't release heat. They're not able to sweat yet or anything like this, so they're holding all that heat in. Even on those swaddles and things, you have to be very careful about getting in hot temperatures where you're carrying the baby around and they're getting all that heat off of you as well. Babies can easily roll off the couch or bed, so don't leave them unattended. No matter where they fall asleep, always put them on their back. This is a change probably from 30 years ago, where they told us always to put them on their bellies, because if they threw up, then that way it was out. But they found that more of them were breathing back in and suffocating from being throwing up and laying on it. So it's on the back. A baby will generally turn if they're going to spit up or something, even in their sleep. So they say on their back. No bumpers, no pillows, no quilts, no toys, no nothing in their bed. Almost up until the first year, as far as anything that they could grab, cover their mouth with, roll up, and as they begin rolling over, it tightens up around them, things like that. So you don't want to put anything in the bed. Pediatricians recommend a flat surface, firm, like a crib, a bassinet, one of these, fitted sheets around them, nothing extra in there. Not even, really, they say not even a drop cloth hanging over the bed, where babies will start grabbing at things and stuff, just simply because they can wrap themselves up, wrap around their neck, cover their mouth, things like this. So use only fitted sheets, as it says there. Here's the yeses and nos. Obviously, sleep clothing, proper sleep clothing. Usually, it's a onesie. You don't want a long or extra thing, strings. Like some of those have garments, they have strings at the bottom. You don't want those for them to sleep in. They're very cute. Great to take out and show baby off. Not so great for sleeping. Firm mattress, fitted sheet. Put baby on the back sleep area. Same room as parents. This is up until age 1. A lot of that is for some infant death syndrome. Making sure, especially just to be there, it's easier for you to be able to care for them and feed them, but also just to listen to their breathing through the night. Not overly cautious, like you can't get any sleep. You'll start recognizing your baby as it sounds differently through the night. If they start gasping or something, you'll hear it. It will wake you up just because it's just like a steady breathing or something next to you. When it clicks off, like a fan in your room, if you use fan noise and someone turns that noise off, immediately you're conscious of it. So same thing with the baby. No pillows, stuffed animals, bumper pads. They do have special bumper liners that you can put in the cribs to keep things from pacifiers from falling out and things, but none of those thick pads that used to go around baby beds so much. And they look real cute, but they're not really good for the baby. The baby will get up against them and not be able to breathe. Swaddling. Let's see, we had a swaddler. Let me grab it real quick. Saw it just a minute ago, but y'all know y'all have done a swaddling class before. The swaddles are very good for newborns. I wish I could find it. It had that really cute pink one. We just had it. Hold on. I think it's in, might be in here. Here it is. Y'all seen swaddles and stuff, but these are great for new babies. This is a different kind. There's several kinds. And we've done classes where you take the baby and really wrap them, and then fold this up and don't leave anything hanging and things like this. They also have these that have Velcro. So you literally hold the baby down like this, almost like a straitjacket effect, and you wrap it and you wrap it. This keeps them very comfortable. They've just come outside the womb where they've been in there very tight and curled up, so it keeps them. But it also keeps them from the flailing. Let's see if they have this on here. The Moro reflex. The Moro reflex is a baby will feel like they're falling. So they'll jerk, and this is like the first 3 months. So when they're laying there on their backs, it'll wake them up. It's a falling sensation, and they'll try to jerk. So this also keeps them from having that reflex at such a young age. So swaddling helps babies sleep longer. You can use a swaddling blanket, such as this is, a car seat cover, or this one right here where she's wrapping it and totally. They also have, like I said, the Velcro ones. And generally the hospital will give you a Velcro one, so, and I think we even have had some here. I don't know if this will talk about it or not, but one thing I did I went upstairs to point out is these are called sleep sacks. And these are great when the baby gets a little older, once they start rolling over. You don't want to put them in a swaddler when they're rolling over. They're like this, and it's just too constrictive for an older baby. So as they get older, you start putting them in a sleep sack. Some of them have little weights on their chest, and it makes it feel like mommy's hand is on them. But also, it keeps them from being able to crawl or climb out of the bed. It also keeps them at one temperature. So you don't have to have a blanket in there. They'll have clothes on underneath this, but this also uses as a blanket, but without putting a blanket that they could get twisted up in. These change based on age. So as they get a little older, you'll have bigger ones and things like this. It's also great for sleep training, because as you get your child into a routine every night that she's going to go to bed, and this starts 3 months is when you start sleep training. So as you start doing that, you have these little methods. Okay, time to put your sleep sack on, time to read a book, time to turn the noisemaker on. Certain things that you do every single night from the time they're 3 months old. By the time they're 1 year old, they're used to that routine. They know to get their sleep sack. They'll start asking for it when they get tired. Sleep sack, kind of thing, because they know that that's part of the sleep routine. So that's all kind of falls in with the swaddling. And she's got a video here, so we're going to watch it real quick. Sorry, this is a little different than mine. Is it playing? Oh, no. I'm not sure how to get this to start. Here it is right there. Okay, it's not opening up, so that's okay. We're going to go on. We'll do classes and tutorials on swaddling and how to, but like I said, most of them will have the Velcro type thing so you can easily do it. They'll also show you in the hospital. Newborn breathing. While sleeping, the baby obviously is going to make strange noises, and that's why I was telling you in your room is a lot better because you can pick up on those noises. They're naturally nose breathers, and actually that changes at about 4 months old, well 3 months old or so. You'll suddenly start feeding them, and you'll realize that they're gasping, like they're wanting to pull the bottle out because they're not breathing. They lose the ability to breathe through their nose for a period of time. And it comes back. But during that time, they'll go, like they need to pull the bottle out because they're not breathing through their nose while they're drinking the bottle. So that's just a milestone setting. But during the breathing, especially on a newborn, you'll start hearing those rhythmic. You'll understand which ones are, what they sound when it's not sounding right. They have the bulb, I'm sure y'all seen, for a syringe to clear the baby's nose when they've got a cold. Even more disgusting than that is the one that you actually suck on. You put it in their nose and then you suck on the other end, and that pulls it doesn't go in your mouth or anything like this, but it pulls it up into like a holding thing, but you suck it in is able to relieve it. It actually does do a better job than the old nasal aspirators. They'll obviously have the periodic breathing. Well, they'll take a pause for a few seconds and then they'll breathe again. Same thing that you do when you're snoring. If you've ever laid next to someone snoring, you'll hear they go quiet for a little while and then they'll and snore kind of thing. And then it might go normal, 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 and then there might be a stop again. And it's just a normal pattern of human breathing. Newborns do it as well. So, the warnings, however, though, if they are going into distress or they're hearing something that doesn't sound normal, nostrils will flare sometimes. They're trying to get more air in. They'll grunt, chest retractions, heavy, like you'll see their chest up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, kind of thing that you'll want to watch for. Obviously, breathing that's inconsistent or fast, inconsistently fast, wheezing in the chest, heavy, noisy, or pausing more than 10 to 15 seconds between breaths. Like I said, sometimes they'll take pauses. They're not going to last 10 or 15 seconds. They're 3 seconds kind of thing. They're just a short pause. So if your baby's going a long period of time, like kind of thing, and then gasping up, then we need to talk to the doctor or something. It might be a respiratory infection. It might be something minor. And newborn babies' lungs aren't fully developed at birth. So you're going to have a little bit breathing and them learning how to get that breath in there and expand their lungs. They don't get their fully expanded lung capacity until about the age of 5 or 6. And then we continue to do it as adults through exercise and things. So someone like a scuba diver or something has a much more bigger lung capacity than someone that doesn't, because they train their lungs to expand into large areas. So mainly swimmers would have that. Runners have much more lung capacity. Babies have very little. They've been in water. They're having to teach their lungs to breathe air. So, burps, sit-ups, and hiccups. If they're fussy, that's a cue to burp them. If you're feeding them, obviously, they're getting air in their belly while they're doing. There's a lot of bottles out there that kind of help burp control, and you're just going to have to find the one that's right for your baby. But when they do start getting fussy and stuff, it's got air in their belly, got to get it out. Especially on newborns, and that's kind of where we are right now, that you need to stop at least halfway through a feeding, burp them, and then continue the feeding. Not all babies are easy to burp. And then you've got babies that also spit up every time you try to burp them. So it's just something that is part of the process, because it's going to have to be done. It'll be much worse if you at nighttime, you roll over and say, I don't even feel like taking the time to burp, you're fine, you're asleep. And then about 2 hours later, you're going to have a screaming baby because that gas is in its belly. So you always want to burp them. Burp when you switch breast. So for a newborn baby, that's about every 2 to 3 ounces, which is about a 10-minute, and that's a good sucking baby. I mean, a baby can suck a newborn about 2 to 3 ounces every 5 minutes if they're steadily sucking, unless they fall asleep or something. several positions. You can switch them up. Some, it's best, like you set them on your knee and just set them up like this. It also saves you from being spit up on quite so much. You kind of hold their head, get their neck steady. Another's obviously on the shoulder with the burp rag for sure. You'll figure out the baby. Ashley was really great at laying across my legs kind of thing down and me burping her that way. So just don't want to put too much pressure on their stomach. If spitting up is excessive or they're having a reflux, you need to talk to your pediatrician. A reflux or anything that is a projectile vomiting would be considered something may be wrong, and a reflux kind of thing where they're having acid, they're not able to process it properly or something. The milk is staying in the stomach longer than it should, so it just comes out projectile where it's just as straight as milk as when it went in. But generally, if there's a reflux or there's an issue there, it's not just a spit up like we saw Nova do, where she's just drilling out of her mouth and stuff. It's more of a exorcist projectile kind of thing. You gotta know. Keep birth cloths handy. You'll live with those for quite some time. They'll be all over the surroundings. You'll have them here. We're gonna have them here, everywhere, and so that they're easy to grab. And in fact, I even brought, and we'll talk about this more, this is a super handy, keep with you at all times. You take it from room to room and things, but always have burp rags, change of clothes, bibs, things like that in a handy candy. I wish this would just go up, like maybe I'm just not clicking it right. But newborn pee and poop. 5 to 10 wet diapers per day, and poops can vary wildly. Keep track of your poop and pee. That's again a great source of that is that Huckleberry app, which you should really investigate different apps that you want to use. But the Huckleberry app, I know about it. You can download it onto your phone, and it tracks all this for you. You just enter the information, and then you have it there every single day. It tells you so much information on what you're going to be needing. But also, one thing I wanted to talk about, the pooping and stuff. Let me make sure it's on the next slide. Hold on. Okay, we're going to go back on the pooping. The first few days of when you bring baby home, the poop is going to be black, and that's going to last for about 4 days and can't go up to 2 weeks. And that is a process that, because they haven't had to do this in the womb. The last few days, sometimes before delivery, they do start generating poop in a way that they can't, they'll get that part out when they come out. And that's why that's that black, dark, heavy poop. That normally clears out pretty quickly, but it's called meconomium. It's the cells and substance that were released into the digestive tract during the birth and things. So that'll happen like a day or so before, but mainly during labor and delivery. It's a dark green pop, and it'll go away after the first few days. Let's see. Changing a diaper. Obviously, I think that you'll know probably how to change a diaper, but it's very important, and this is another thing that I keep in the handy bag, is to sanitize your hands before. Baby has got a new skin. A lot of new things are being touched on it. Diaper creams. You're going to possibly go through different types of diapers because sensitive skin is different for the baby. So you may try one diaper and it gets more diaper rash or gets a redness and stuff. So just kind of watch what works. Lift it. Clean them well, especially for little girls. I think it says it in here, but you have to clean. For girls, you go from the back, front to back, because you don't want to go into the vagina area, and place clean diaper cloths on a boy's penis while cleaning to avoid getting peed on. Also, for a little boy, you have to use Vaseline, if they have a circumcision. And for the first year of their birth, you have to put the Vaseline and pull back that foreskin around. For a baby boy, and you do that until they're 1 year old, and that makes sure that they don't want to get an infection, but also that the head of the penis forms properly and doesn't grab that skin and have regrowth. pull the front between your legs, child's legs, and over their stomach, pull the diaper tabs and open in the front. And the diapers are great now, I mean, because they're Velcro almost type stuff, where if you miss it and don't get it right, you can kind of move it around and stuff. Just best way to know also is when your baby is ready to go to the next size, obviously because it's tight and things, but also they'll start leaking through. Especially on boys, they'll have a different leakage area. They have in the front, girls are more in the back, but you'll wake them up and their back leg will be wet and things, so you're probably ready to go to the next stage. I don't know if we're going to be able to see the videos, sorry, but it's not clicking on it, so we're going to go on. Newborn crying. Many newborns won't cry the first few days, and by the first 2 weeks, a typical newborn will cry some each day. Crying usually increases about 6 to 8 weeks and then will taper off. Figure out why they're crying. Most likely they're hungry, uncomfortable, soiled. If you can't console them and you're getting frustrated, that's normal. Put them on the back in the crib and go find some support. Sometimes you just need to walk away. If the baby's been crying and you can't seem to console them, you've changed the diaper, you've fed them, you've done everything that you possibly can, lay them in the bassinet, obviously on their back, and get away. Go have some tea, go take a walk a minute, know that they're safe. I mean, I'm talking about walking in the house and stuff, not leaving the baby and saying, I'm out of here. But just kind of get away for a little bit. And that will kind of help. But I will say on hunger pains, crying is a late sign of hunger. So if they're already crying because they're hungry, they've been hungry. So again, the Huckleberry app will help you with that and know when and regulate your baby's feeding. Because if, like I said, they go into a hunger cry, they're hungry already. Frequently feeding, let's see which one we're on, feeding between, I don't know if we've already passed it, so I'm just going to keep going, but I do want to talk about sleep. In newborn bathing, obviously follow your pediatrician's advice on the baby and the umbilical cord. Generally, they don't put the stop of the umbilical cord submerge it in water. You keep that above, and you'll clean that daily and stuff. It falls off fairly quickly, within a week to 10 days. But just don't submerge. Sponge baths are enough for newborns, and you don't need to over-bathe a newborn. I'm not sure how frequently it says on here, but use a warm, damp cloth gently around the neck and the folds, because that's where the milk kind of gets stuck in there. Redness or irritation in the diaper area, can put diaper rash cream, swipe diaper cream or Vaseline at every diaper change to treat it. Over bathing a newborn baby especially, their skin is very sensitive and stuff and can dry it out, and then you'll get that flaky skin, and they can actually even get a worse rash where you have to get medication for it. So, I mean, I know sometimes, especially a newborn, you want to, because it's just so much fun to kind of give them a bath and do all that stuff and get them all fixed up and smell good with new creams and stuff. But just kind of keep in mind their skin is very sensitive at this point. I'm going to skip the video, I'm sorry. Newborn skin. Newborns have a range of minor skin irritations. They can have rash, cradle cap, peeling, or general dryness. Some babies have fine hair on their shoulders and backs. It usually falls out within a week or two. As I was saying, with the baby's skin, it is so sensitive, but cradle cap, you would put usually Vaseline or baby oil on it and kind of help that. They will generally lose their hair, their head hair, throughout that first few weeks, especially if it's extremely thick. They'll lose some of that will fall out, and that's perfectly normal. Newborn clothes, combination of one-piece onesies and fitted pajamas, plus a swaddle blanket or a sleep sack in cold weather at night. Use your own internal thermostat and common sense as where to put your baby, and dress your baby like yourself. Don't bundle them up in some warm clothing and you're going to bed in a t-shirt, because they're not able to express that heat the way we are. But you don't want them cold in there either. Generally speaking, for even here and the way we keep our temperatures at home, I do a long sleeve onesie on a baby and a sleep sack. That way they're covered and stuff. When they're swaddled in this, they could literally just be in a short sleeve onesie because they're going to be so swaddled up. But you can generally also start telling if your baby's shivering or cold or things. So, the newborn checklist. This will be on a printout when we do our handouts. But it basically covers the things that you're going to need, and we've talked about it numerous times on everything that we need before baby's born. Car seat, obviously, to take to the hospital. Cribs and bassinets. We also have pack and plays for when they get a little bit bigger with all fitted sheets. Changing pads, pacifiers. We won't go through all of these, but we will have a list for y'all to kind of check off and make sure that we have everything before baby's born.